everybody. How are you today? Don't you love how I'm like glancing off screen as we start? I know. I have my computer over there, so when I'm looking at the comments, my eyeballs are off camera. So I was checking out some of the chat. I love when I see all the action in the chat before we begin. You guys are so prompt. My name is Jen Raza, and I am one of the co-founders of Altenew. And if you haven't been here before, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here on our live. This is the Creative Challenges with Jen, and we have a brand new challenge for you every week. If you're catching up on the replay, I also want to say hello to you. I'm glad that you were able to find our video, and hopefully one day you'll be able to join us live. So I am here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern time. You might need to do some time conversions to figure out what time that is for you. But I am always excited to see some familiar faces, but of course, some new names pop up as well. Speaking of who's here, now I'm going to dart off camera again. And I'm seeing that we've got Tracy and Nancy, Betsy, Monica, Kim, Deborah, Xiomara. I don't know if I said Nancy yet, Gina. Oh, we've got two Nancys. So it's a good thing. At least two Nancys. And E. Miller, Jill, and many more. We've got Jelly behind the badge today, so definitely pop in a hello to her because she'll be helping me out. She's my wingwoman, wing person, helper person. So she'll be behind the scenes adding anything that I talk about, any products. She'll be putting on some product links. Oh my gosh, my mom is calling me. It happens all the time. If you heard that, that was my watch ringing. I think I always forget to tell her that I have live on Tuesday, and then she forgets. I don't expect her to know my schedule. But anyway, I kind of lost track of what I was saying. But yeah, Jelly's behind the badge, and she will be adding links to any products that I talk about while we are live. And she will also be answering any questions and anything else that she can do to support you guys behind the scenes and to support me behind the scenes. So thank you as well to Jelly for that. If you guys can see, I'm getting more and more organized behind me. I have been in organization mode for the past, I would say, 2 weeks. Like, this is an ongoing project that has been taking way too long, like a year, for me to get the craft room organized. And I am able to chip away at it bit by bit. And I've just recently gotten inks up. I am not up to date on all my labeling. So you'll see some naked sets of ink over here that need some labels. I'm starting to get some enamel dots placed behind me, and hopefully the more organized I get, the better it will be for me to find things and grab them while I'm crafting for you live. Okay, so hello to anybody else who's just recently joined. And I'd like to say thank you for people who have shared, because if you share while we're live, you're automatically entered to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And that is not the only way to win. You can also win by getting featured, which I will get to right now. So we had great gradients as our theme last week, and this was less restrictive, I would say, than other challenges that we've done, because we are able, oh my gosh, Adriana is asking a question. I'll get to you in a second, Adriana. So this was a little less restrictive because all you have to do is incorporate gradients, and gradients are kind of like a natural thing that happens when you're ink blending. So I noticed a lot of you did ink blended gradients, but you can also incorporate gradients with gradient cardstock strips of varying colors, or embellishments of different colors, or painting, or marker coloring, whatever, sky's the limit. So there were a lot of opportunities to incorporate gradients. This is what I had created last time. So I did do an ink blended background. I have some, you'll see the splotches. I love just like splashing water on an ink blended background. I feel like it gives it this really cool painterly, organic look, and it's so easy. Like, I was literally just putting water in my hands and going like this at it, and then the dye ink reacts with the water, and that's how you get like that variation and those little like ink splotches. So I thought that was cool. And then I was doing some blending on my die cuts. So every die cut piece that I had it darker in the center and blended outwards. So that's a circular gradient. And I just put a simple simple message on there. So it just says sending happy thoughts. All right. So the thing that I said I would get to in a second is Adriana says, are your wigs and hats still up there? Let's see. They are. Oh my gosh, I can't angle the camera enough. It's stuck because I'm on one of those arms. But yeah, they are up there. I've got the whole row. If you just recently saw the video that got posted, I filmed that a few years ago. And then it got put in a compilation video. Check out the Altenew YouTube channel. And maybe Jelly, if you know what video I'm talking about, you can put a link to that in the comments. And it goes through a few different craft rooms, mine included. I believe Bridget's and mine and Nicole's and Lydia's. So it goes through all of those different craft rooms. But mine was filmed a couple of years ago. And at one point I'm like, hey, Tasneem, like blah, blah, blah. And I just start talking to Tasneem. That's because the original video was me and Tasneem both sharing our spaces. So if you watch that, you're like, what is going on? Why is she talking to Tasneem? That is why. But yeah, I've got like cosplay wigs and hats and heads and all things up there. So those aren't going anywhere. It's the best place I have to store them. All right, let's get into the winner from last time. So I'm so excited to announce the featured project for this week. So just give me a moment to share, as always. And drum roll, please. I have Dawn Turley. So congratulations to Dawn. I really love the way that you have the gradient in the background, the gradient on your flowers. I'm realizing now it's kind of the same thing I did. I did not pick that on purpose. Of course, you could have done your gradients however you wanted, but Dawn just happened to do it like this. A lot of you also used blue. So I know a lot of people have entered also concurrently doing the bingo challenges that we have. So I think some of you were able to incorporate more than one challenge into your project, and that's absolutely okay. Also, if you're new and you didn't know, you don't have to use Altenew in order to enter. You just have to satisfy the prompt. So this prompt was about gradients. If you have Altenew products, please use them because I do love seeing it, but it is not a requirement. So if you're new to the company and you don't have any Altenew products yet, or you're just kind of checking things out and you're not sure if you would like to get Altenew products, then absolutely just use what you have on hand. And then if you win and you get to get that $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store, then you can buy something and then you'll have something to use for future challenges. So congratulations again to Dawn. So make sure you contact us and let us know that you are the challenge winner. And now let's get straight to this week's challenge. So for this week, we have Frame It Fabulous. So Frame It Fabulous is when you are going to be incorporating framed elements in some way. You can be literal, having a frame. Let me pop you down and show you one of the products that I did grab. You might be able to guess what it is, but I'm going back into the Illuminated Scenes project kit. This was a really, really unique one. I don't have the stamp set out, but if you look at the link, you can check it out. And it has like a craft room scene and a living room scene. And you can make an illuminated scene because there are stencils included that help you selectively ink different areas so that it looks like light is coming from a window or shining down on your craft desk from a lamp. But it also has these two great products in that PK. And these are just like total staples, I think, for anybody who is a card maker, but also for scrapbookers, because you have this die that cuts out these 1, 2, 3 concentric frames, rectangular frames, and then you can send them through the coordinating embossing folder to give it the look of a really beautifully detailed, elegant frame. And this just looks spectacular if you use metallic cardstock. Like, it looks good no matter what, but I really love it with the metallic cardstock. So I did grab this as a literal frame. I also took out, oh, I did have the stamp set. Sorry, I wasn't going to use the stamp set today. I didn't think I grabbed it, but here's the coordinating set that goes with the illuminated scenes. So we have the couch scene and the craft room scene. You can see that right there. Alrighty, so this is the cornered bloom stamp set. I thought this would be a good one because if I stamp in all 4 corners, then that also essentially creates a frame. You don't have to have the frame around the outer edge of your product. If you don't want, you can have the frame around a sentiment. You can frame it with smaller stamp details. Let's say I had a little stamp of a heart and I wanted to stamp hearts all around my greeting. That would count. So that's the theme for Frame It Fabulous, is just figuring out a way to frame out different elements in your project. And you is saying that embossing and die set looks fun. It is fun. So yeah, I'll definitely show this to you guys today. I have used it on a live before. I told you it's one of those staples, and I'm hoping we do more and more frames of different styles and shapes that come with these embossing folders, because it really is a cool thing to add to many, many different projects. I think I'm also going to do some marker coloring today. I don't use markers a lot, admittedly, because I don't feel like it is one of my strengths, but isn't that such a great reason to use them? All right, let's do some planning first, and then I will figure out what size frame I want to use. Oh, thank you for sharing, Melanie. Anyone who shares, just make sure you put that comment in, because that's how we'll know that you shared. So the different size frames, the biggest one is A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if I use that, that would frame out the entire card. Or I can use the small frame and just have the sentiment framed. So let's make some plans. Planning is good. Don't always plan, but it is a good thing to do. Okay, if I have this here at the edge, and let me grab the other one. It goes all the way from edge to edge, and then I would have it here and here. Okay, so I would just flip it around and I could stamp the bottom ones. And if I had, let's pull this out for size. If I use the small one, I can have the greeting going that way or this way, and it'll all fit. Now, if I want the outer frame, the A2 sized frame, I won't be able to fit this inside of the frame because they overlap. But I do have another option. See where I'm going here? I've got this other one. These other little cute flowers. And I can stamp these in the corners. Still have slight overlap, but not as much. So I think what I'm going to do, because of the size, I'm going to stick with the big ones and I'm going to stamp them in the outer corners, and then we'll use one of the smaller frames to frame the sentiment. And I kind of like that better anyway, because now I've got 2 types of frames, the outer frame and a sentiment frame. I am really excited to do some coloring with the alcohol markers because it does look so good. They're so beautifully saturated and really bright, vibrant colors. So it's super, super beautiful. So let's bring this all the way to the edge. Same here, all the way to the edge. Now, if I centered my cardstock, I could do like the whole flipperoo trick. Yeah, let's just do it. Might as well. If I'm talking about it, I might as well show you. So these are our stamp wheel alignment guides, and they are stencils that help you place your cardstock exactly in the center. And you pick a different one depending on which size your cardstock is. So this is the one I use the most because I most typically use A2 sized cardstock. And I'm placing this right in the corner against the edge of my stamp wheel, just like this. And now I can get my cardstock, which is also A2, right here, and it is centered. Now you can leave this here or peel it out. It really doesn't matter at this point. And I'm going to stamp with some Obsidian pigment ink. Yes, Tracy, you're right. The Stamp Wheel 2.0 workshop is spectacular. And the 2.0, if you're not familiar with it, is the larger stamp wheel. This is the original size, which I use mostly when I'm filming because it does fit better in the view of my camera. But you can definitely use the other stamp wheel, which is the 2.0, and that's going to give you a larger size to work on. I'm just trying to get this as best as I can centered. I never feel like I need perfection, just close enough. So I'm feeling like this is close enough. All right, let's pick these up with the flip plate. And I'm just going to double check my placement looks good both ways. You know, I think I'm a little bit off where I put the second one. So let me just move it over and try again. What I'm trying to do, and it's a little hard because I can't go directly over my cardstock right now because the camera's right there. So I'm trying my best. I did say close enough, though. I should have just left it. And try one more time. Okay, I think that's better. You guys can probably see better than I can. Oh, there's my head. Hey, sorry. Okay, holding my breath. That always helps. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. And now let's ink that up with the obsidian. And since I am going to do artist marker coloring, which are alcohol markers, I do want to make sure that this is thoroughly dry before I start coloring over it, because if you don't wait for it to dry, you might smudge it. And I definitely don't want to be smudging it. And I love how this has the dark background, like that filled in black background. This one was inspired by like carvings, like hand carved stamps. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh. I love it. Love it. Always love it. All right, so you is saying, I'm just starting to collect the alcohol markers. I think I have 5 to 6 sets. Scared to use them, not sure how to refill them. Oh, refilling is really easy. We have some videos on how to refill them. And you can search that, or maybe Jelly can put a link to one if you can find it quickly into the comments. Now, oh, sorry. Let me show you what I'm doing. We stamped like this the first time, and now I'm flipping. And we are going to stamp in position on the bottom. This is why I used that alignment guide, because it guaranteed that everything would line up when I flip it. If I just placed the cardstock randomly and then like thought like, oh, this is pretty close, and then flipped it, it wouldn't necessarily line up. So using that alignment guide guarantees that I'm able to get everything in position where it should be. And that looks so good. It's so pretty. Look at that. Okay, so this is definitely going to need some time to dry. I also might just blast it a bit with a heat gun just to really make sure that we've got it dry. But let me start by letting it air dry. And I'm going to do my die cutting and embossing. Let's just put this right over here for now so you guys could still see it. It's so pretty. It even looks good just in the black and white. Like, honestly, you don't even really need to color it in. But we will. We will, but it's not necessary. This is a great set. So again, this is the cornered blooms, and it's a 4x6 set. So it is a little more on the cheaper side compared to our 6x8 stamp sets. And now I can show you how this is all going to go. So let me pick what type of frame. I think gold, right? Do we just need to go gold with this? I feel like silver wouldn't look as good, especially I'm trying to imagine how I'm going to color these in too. So here is that die. Now I cannot use my mini blossom for this die. The mini blossom plate is 3 by 6 inches, which accommodates many dies. I feel like people always think like, oh, it's so small, I'm not going to get a lot of use out of it. If you ever start measuring your dies, or you wanted to see like how many of your dies actually fit on the 3 by 6 plate, you'll probably notice that like 90% of your dies will fit on that plate. However, anything that is larger obviously won't fit. So I will have to die cut this off screen using my larger machine. But let me grab some metallic cardstock. And just trying to see which color I want. I think I'm going to do that brushed gold. I just feel like that's super elegant. Or brushed rose. Now I have to make a choice. Tough choice. Yeah, I don't think I want the copper. All of that is also really pretty. Let's go with brushed rose. Maybe that's a little less expected. So for this, I'm just going to take just a piece that I have, just a scrap from the last time. Oh, thank you guys for the suggestion. Yeah, Deanne says rose. And then I also see someone saying gold. Sorry, I did already grab the rose gold. Okay, and we're just going to tack this down with some tape. I have a whole bunch of pieces of our satin masking tape off on the side of my desk, and I just use and reuse until they cannot be stuck down anymore. So let me just scoot this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so right over here, just popping this on. I don't need too much, just enough to hold it in position while I send it through my die cut machine. Excuse me. And then my die cut machine that I use is the Gemini Junior, but you would just want to check the die cut sandwich that you need for the machine that you have. Okay, so give me a second and I'm going to send this through. Deanne is asking, what is the stamp set? This is the Cornered Blooms stamp set that I used. Okay, it's coming through. And now you'll see I've got all the frames I need, and they are just plain frames right now. So you could always use them like this if you want a really simple, I would say looks kind of more modern frame. You also get the little inner cutout and the in-between pieces. You get my perfect picker just to poke those out a little more easily. Okay, so what I mean by the in-between pieces is in between each of the frames, you get like a little bonus frame right there. All right, so all of those are popped out, and I will absolutely be saving the pieces that I don't use today because I don't want to waste that pretty cardstock. And then let's see which one we want to use. So this is what I was telling you before about the size of the frame. I am going to be losing a bit if I use that large one. Well, it still looks good. You guys, I could never make decisions on my own. If I use this size, that might be covering too much as well. So my thought was we'll use the small one and put the sentiment in the middle somewhere like that. I think that looks really cool. Okay, so yeah, we'll use this one. But I think this would have been a good backup plan. It just would cover up a little bit of those flowers, which I didn't want to do. All right, so I'm just going to emboss this one. Normally, I would just send all 3 frames through at the same time, but since we are limited with our time here on this live and I almost never finish my project in time, I'm just going to worry about this one. Now you could decide how you want that to be embossed, because if you put it this way, it'll be embossed with the center part popping up. But if I want it to be the other way around, I could just flip it and do it this way, and it'll give you like the inverse. So just like that. All right, but I'm going to take another piece of the purple tape just to get this right where I want it inside of the frame. And now making sure I follow the instructions for 3D folders, because depending on your die cut machine, you're going to have a different sandwich for regular 2D embossing folders versus a 3D embossing folder. So you just want to make sure that you're using the correct one. So for me, I need my clear cutting plate. I need my magnetic shim. I need my folder, and then the plastic shim. So I don't use this top cutting plate. All right, now this is going to go through, and I'll be right back once again. Okay, and for those of you who have just joined us, what we're doing today is Frame It Fabulous. So you just need to create something, any type of project. It doesn't have to be a card, that incorporates framed elements. I am going quite literal, and I am using a frame. My gosh, look how pretty that is. I'm telling you guys, if you've never embossed metallic cardstock, do it. It is always so satisfying, because it takes the dimension so much better, in my opinion, than regular cardstock. Now, regular cardstock looks great. I'm not knocking that. And if you want it to look even better, spray it with a little bit of water. Not this stuff, but the regular cardstock, spray it with water before you run through the folder. And that's going to give you a bit more of a defined and better impression. But if you want like the crispest results, use metallic cardstock. It's so good. So good. All right, we are on a roll here. Let me put some of this mess aside. We'll clean this up later and get my spare frames that I don't want to lose track of. Okay, so let's now just blast this a bit with the heat gun, just to ensure that we've got it nice and dry. And then I'm going to start doing some coloring, which I'm a little nervous. Again, alcohol marker coloring, artist marker coloring is not my strength, in my opinion, but I'm not going to get better if I don't practice. So let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. I don't need my stamp wheel right now. And the heat gun I have hopefully won't warp the cardstock. What you're going to do when you're using a heat gun is you always want to keep it moving so that you're not heating up one part of the cardstock too much, because if it does get too hot in one area, it does have a tendency to warp. So I'm just getting this heated up. And, oh, thank you, Kim. She's like, you got this, Jen. Thank you. I need the moral support sometimes. Okay, that should be good. And now let's pick some marker colors. I've got to think of what's going to look good with this frame. I think we're going to end up going this way. Maybe this way. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, maybe that looks better. That was my original plan. And then we'll have some empty space here. I think we need to go with some light colors. That's what I'm feeling. That might look really good. Okay. Let's do this. Let's start with Rose Quartz, Puffy Heart, Purple Wine, and Cosmic Berry. And then we will see what else we could grab. I also like the Mountain Mist, Volcano Lake, Lagoon, and Emerald for the leaves. Let me try to zoom you in a little bit. Wrong way. So you could see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay, so for my coloring, I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple. I don't want to make it too fussy because then I'm going to get in over my head and I'm going to panic. So since I'm just getting back into this after a long time without, let's keep it easy. So I'm actually going to start with a darker color. A lot of people will say, don't start with the darker color, start with the lighter color and then blend into the darker areas. But I just want to keep it as simple as I can. So I'm starting here with Cosmic Berry. And I'm going to look for a petal that's more towards the back and just start flicking upwards into the little areas that I think would be the darkest. So that is at the base of each petal here. I'm going to stop right there just so I can go into some Purple Wine. And flick and blend upwards. Just while that's still wet. You can let it dry and you can still reblend it because it's an alcohol marker. It is going to blend no matter what. But I do want to keep it, I would say, a little bit wetter just so it's easier to blend. And I'm going to jump right into Rose Quartz. I'm skipping Puffy Heart. That's because I want these edges to be nice and light. Just like that. I would say this is like basic beginner coloring. Really basic, really beginner. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of blooming here. So I do think that I'm getting, I didn't heat set it the best there. So apologies for that, but let's keep it moving. And looking at the time, I may not be able to finish all this. Let me go a little bit further back so you could see at least the markers that I'm grabbing. Okay, so right over here. And I'm going to follow those same exact steps, moving along to the next petal. And then we'll see how that looks and what color we want to add next. And this one's in the back, so I'm going to make it quite dark. And just keeping my motions flicking so I could keep everything nice and blended. Okay. Now, as I'm doing this, I want to give you some reminders about joining the challenge. If you decide to play along with us, you need to share your project with hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. That is the only way that we're going to be able to find your project, because if it's not posted with the hashtag, then unfortunately we can't guarantee that we'll be able to see it and have it in consideration for the weekly prize. I'm seeing someone say coloring takes me forever. I know. I'm not going to finish this. It is, I'm dreaming if I think I'm going to be able to finish this in time today. It's not going to happen. All right, so we're just going to start with that. We've got some basic color down. Now, there are other techniques that I would call easy beginner level. So what I'm doing now is easy beginner level. Another thing, and let me get a scrap piece of cardstock to show you, because this is a really fun one. And I'm not going to do it here because I've already got a good thing going. But let's do this. I want to show you another technique that you can do where you put down a light color and then you can do some stippling. So that's just like making dots like this. Okay. and hear me out because I know it doesn't look like much, but you make your dots kind of blend outwards. And let me get another color. And this is just like a really fun way to add texture while you're coloring. So this is a fun way to color in, like, let's say you're making a tree and you want to color in the leaves of the tree, but you want to give it texture at the same time. You can do this like stippling. So bounce, 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 bounce. Let me go back into the purple wine. Bounce, bounce, bounce. You can make larger dots, smaller dots. And then I can make darkest dots with the Cosmic Berry. So I'd also call this a beginner coloring method. And you can see how we have that texture, but we also have a blend. So that's something you can do if you're also not feeling super confident in your skills like me. While we have these markers out, let's just do the same thing and color the same flower on this end. So I'm curious if you guys can pop in the comments and let me know if you are just marker people in general, if you like working with alcohol markers like the Altenew artist markers, or if you're like me and it's just, maybe it's a kind of good, kind of, you don't do it a lot, so you kind of have to practice. I'll call it the kind of. Or maybe you've never used them before and you want to have some time to maybe see videos or more lives using that medium and then see if it's something that you want to try. There are some great people on our team that are just amazing at using our markers. Aram comes to mind. She is so, so good. I need to watch more of her tutorials so I can be more like her. The great thing about these markers is it does a lot of the work for you. First of all, the fact that they are in color sets like our ink, that helps. But also they have been formulated to blend well with one another. So the fact that it's alcohol instead of a different type, like a washable marker or something, this is going to blend a lot more easily. So now I have this one set as well. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do in the middle, but that's a decision for later. Let me see some comments that I maybe missed. Carrie doesn't use her markers often. She says, one reason I began to purchase Altenew products was the way they have coordinating stencils, make me look like an artist. Yeah, I'm super comfortable with stencils. And, you know, I feel like that is great. And I love using stencils. And it's like instant gratification for me with the stenciling. But I need to remember to do things that scare me. No, I'm not scared of coloring with markers, but just out of my comfort zone. And that's a lot of what this challenge is all about. The reason why I even started this weekly live, making it all about challenges, is because I wanted to stretch my own creativity. I wanted to do things that are out of my comfort zone. So using the markers just totally embodies that thought for me. So I'm glad that we're doing it. And I hope that you feel empowered to try something that maybe you're not comfortable with, or maybe that's a different style for you or outside of your own creative comfort zone. And then we can all learn and grow and be better together. I think I like this one better than the other ones. Hopefully with every single one I color, they're going to get a little bit better, just a bit. And just adding that light color right at the top. You could also leave areas white if you want to have that nice highlight, or you could go back and add white later with like one of our acrylic markers. The acrylic markers are awesome for that because they will go onto almost any surface. And you can also cover light color or cover dark colors with light colors. So in many mediums, like if something's dark, you can't go light over it, but with the acrylic markers, you can. All right, Cordelia just started using alcohol markers, but prefers inks. I'm right there with you. You says, I admire people who use markers for florals. Exactly. Tracy, the nibs on the artist markers are the best. They are really, really good. Okay, so thank you guys for the support and the compliments. I'm doing my best. And I love how this looks. And this stamp set is also doing a lot of the work for me just because it is so intricately detailed. If there weren't so many lines in each petal, it might be more obvious if I don't have a good blend in my markers. But since there are all those detail lines, it kind of covers up any mistakes. So that's another tip for somebody who is either just learning or maybe hasn't used markers in a while. Look for a stamp set that's going to work in your favor. Okay, so something with more details where the stamp itself is doing the work for you will allow you to be a little bit looser or less precise with your marker coloring or anything coloring. So that would also apply if you are doing some watercoloring or colored pencil work. I love using colored pencils. That's something that I don't use frequently, but I really, really love to. It takes a long time, so it's not great for these live sessions. But obviously, this is also taking me a long time. I'm not a fan of this one, by the way. I think I made this one too dark. But yeah, I love using colored pencils. I feel like you get a really realistic look, too, with colored pencils. And you can layer up colored pencils and also blend them together. You could get like little blending stumps and do a lot with them. Okay, let's just wrap up this one. Let me add a little bit more. Let's do some puffy heart just to keep that one nice and dark. Okay, so we've got this so far. I feel like this looks like an old book. Like, can't you imagine? Let's put the frame back on it, like the title of a book or something right here. I think that would be lovely. That would be lovely. All right, Jelly, thanks for putting all the links and things that we need into the comments. Let's do some greenery just so I can get as much shown as possible before we run out of time. So we've got Mountain Mist, Volcano Lake. Can we see these? There we go. Lagoon and Emerald. So these are in the same set that I was using before. And I think I'm just going to do all of the greenery with these same greens just to keep it nice and cohesive. But you can always use different greens from different sets. Yes, Susie, that's what I'm thinking of. She's saying a leather tooled book front. That's what this is reminding me of. Just intricately carved or pressed. How do they do that? It's kind of like stamping, right? They can stamp into the leather and you can also carve all details into it. That's what I'm thinking of. You're right, Tracy. She says make it a journal cover. That would be really cool. Let's continue on. And I'm going to do my same simple method. Not the best results, but I would say beginner friendly is starting with a dark color. So now I'm going into that emerald. And just bringing out the little vein area of some of these leaves. This would also look pretty if I grabbed some yellow. I love taking either yellow or blue and adding it to the leaves when I do ink blending, or also if I'm doing like watercoloring. I feel like it adds a lot more life instead of just straight green. But this is simple. We're just going to use green. But yeah, like if I put yellow around the edges, oh, that would be so nice. So nice. Sorry, you guys, that we're just watching a lot of coloring, non-confident coloring today. I think we need to go lighter. Just because we have so much dark with that stamp. So this one is Mountain Mist. This is the lightest. And I feel like this is really needed just to brighten things up so it's not so dark, dark, dark. I love it. Okay, so this looks beautiful. That one I'm just going to do here. And you can see how it's bringing this all together. I think we need to go really light with this flower. Otherwise, it's just going to be too dark, too heavy. So let's go with, no, sorry guys, I'm just making some decisions out loud here. Let's go really light. Okay, so I've got Buttercream and Warm Sunshine. Yes, that's what was needed here. And I think I'm just going to leave the edges just pure white here, again, in an effort to keep it nice and light. Yes, Sue just said a yellow flower. Yes, Kim loves Mountain Mist. Same. A big fan of Mountain Mist. So this is the Buttercream. And then I'm just going to leave those other areas white. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. So that one came together real quickly, just because I only used the 2 colors. And we have a few more flowers. I think I'm just going to go yellow right over here, because I do want to do a sentiment and figure out this frame before the live is over. So let's just quickly get that one. And let's make this one pink. And we'll go purple wine first. And I'm just going to keep it nice and light at the top of those petals. So we'll just use 2 colors here, the purple wine, and then light, light, light is rose quartz. Yeah, Lisa's saying sometimes coloring is soothing. It's a little less soothing, I have to be honest, when I'm live and I know a bunch of people are watching and I have to narrate. But what I'm looking forward to is after the live, I've got my coffee. No matcha for me today, but I do have just my cup of coffee. I'm going to sip this and finish coloring, and that's going to just be nice. A nice way to end my day. I think this will still say balanced if I keep the pink here. So we'll make this bud pink. And I missed a spot with the green, so let's go in with Lagoon. And I have the small nib here. This is not the brush nib. This is just going to help me get right into that little spot. Let's see if there's any other places I missed. Just kind of popping that in. Okay, so this is Artist Marker 101. But it looks really pretty. Okay, so even when I am here getting back into using markers after a long time not using them, it still looks really great, and it didn't take all that long. So now here is my frame. Now we are framing it fabulous, so I do need to find some kind of fabulous greeting to put in there. I've got a little less than 10 minutes, and let me see what some people have been saying that I've missed. Oh, the colors are beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like that. Let me get some foam tape on here first, and then I will think about that greeting, just because I want to show you with some options for the foam tape. So for our foam tape, we have different thicknesses. So we've got the 1/16 inch thickness and the 1/8 inch thickness. So that's something that you guys can think about while you're buying your crafting supplies, finding the thickness that works for you, and then not just the thickness that works for you, but the width. Okay, so this is a 1/4 inch width and an 1/8 inch thickness. So let me show you what that looks like. This is nice and thick. I kind of think that thick one would be good here. It just makes it like a little bit taller, and I want to have that extra dimension so you get the shadow behind it. I'm not going to be adhering this because I need to stamp the greeting first. But let's just flip this over. I'm going to grab my scissors. And I think the greeting itself will have to be a surprise for next time, just because I didn't pre-select any sentiment. And if I wanted to use the sending you here, it doesn't quite fit in my frame. This is the one that comes in the cornered bloom stamp set. I could always do sending here and then stamp the U beneath. I could selectively ink, or I could cut the stamp in half. Could always do that. But I think I would rather find a sentiment that fits a little bit better in this frame. So I will also do that off screen. So that will be a surprise for next time. But let's get this adhesive on here so you can see how much dimension I get when I am using this thicker foam tape. And I'm just going to just kind of eyeball it where that needs to be. Yeah, this is nice having that extra tall tape. And I am going to be wrapping up soon. So let me just give you some reminders as I place this tape down. You need to create something that is framed. Can be a literal frame like I have here, a frame that you stamp like I have in the outer edge of my card base. You can also create a frame with embellishments. You can create a frame with cardstock strips, anything else that maybe I haven't thought of. Try to find a way to frame different elements on your project and then submit it using our hashtag, which is hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. A lot of people do post in our fan group on Facebook. If you're not in the Facebook fan group and you use Facebook, please join the fan group. It's awesome. If you do not use Facebook, you can also post on like Instagram or other social media. Make sure you have a public account and then use that hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. All right, this is why I use the thicker tape, because now I have like this huge, tall, I'm saying huge, this very tall frame. And I like that extra dimension. I just thought it would look really cool. And it does. This might be tough to get into an envelope, but you can always make a custom envelope or hand deliver it. And I will be finishing coloring the other blooms just like I have the first one with the same colors. I will select a greeting that looks beautiful in here. And then this is going to be my Frame It Fabulous card. Let me zoom you out just a little bit more so you can see how this is coming out. So I think that will be really beautiful. Laura's asking, can we submit more than one card? Yes, you can do as many submissions as you like. And I'm trying to think if there's any other reminders if you are playing along for the first time. But yeah, just make sure you have the hashtag. Make sure your project fulfills the prompt. But that being said, it doesn't have to be a finished project. So let's say I wanted to play along and this is how far I got. I could take a picture of this and post it with the hashtag and say, oh, life got in the way this week. I didn't get a chance to finish. I plan on adding a greeting and coloring the rest of the blooms. It's still framed fabulous. I still have the challenge prompt satisfied. So it would be considered, it would count for the challenge and you might be able to win with that project. If it doesn't fulfill the prompt and it's a work in progress, unfortunately, you can't submit it. So make sure that even if it's a work in progress, it does fulfill the challenge prompt. Yes, it can be a work in progress. I love when I see the work in progress. It's only happened a handful of times. Maybe I could count on one hand the amount of times that people have submitted the works in progress. But I love it because I know how hard it is to find time for your hobby. everybody has a life, right? You guys all have things that are going on in your personal life, in your family life, in your friends, in your work life, if you work or if you go to school. And we try our best to get crafty. And I don't want anybody to feel like you can't play along with the challenge just because life got in the way. So if life gets in the way and you don't finish your project, submit it anyway. We'd love to see it. And you might still inspire somebody else to get crafting. They might see your work in progress and be like, ooh, I like how that looks. I might want to do something for this challenge, or I might want to do something that's inspired by that. So please, please, please don't hesitate to play along. And that pretty much does it for me today. I hope that you guys had fun. I know that I'm dying to get back into these markers so that I can make that a more regular part of my crafting. I've got such beautiful markers from Altenew and they need to be used. Seriously, they need to get used. So I'm going to see if there's any other last minute questions that I may have missed. Otherwise, I will be popping into the replay and seeing if you guys have any other comments also that maybe I missed, and I will address them there on either YouTube or Facebook, depending on where you are tuning in from. All right. Well, I hope everyone out there has a lovely and wonderful, and I'll look at you in a second. I just need to get my outro video ready. The outro. Okay. I hope you all have a wonderful and crafty day, and that'll do it for me today. Bye-bye.